Welcome back, Tiger fans, to Rock M Radio's football podcast. I'm Nate Edwards. That's Nathan Hurst. It's Before the Box Score, your second hate week, your second rivalry game of the very young season. I'm ready for South Carolina. Nathan Hurst, are you ready?
I'm ready for the SEC to start. I wouldn't say the season's been a slow build because the Kansas game really helped to drop us right into the fire there. But something is different in the air when it's an SEC game, especially a very anticipated one. I mean, this is probably, at least for me, my most anticipated SEC game of the year coming into the year, just because I feel like it has such a big implications for where the rest of the season is going to go, and it has been the case since before the season started.
Yeah, I mean the ramifications for this game have stayed the same. It's just the trajectory of both teams has changed quite drastically. 3 weeks in, but we'll talk about that. We're going to talk about some last points with Louisiana. Kind of touch base on that one. Close the book finally on the Raging Cajuns evaporation. We're going to talk about injuries to specific people who might be playing in this game on Saturday, and then of course we'll be discussing the team that Missouri will be playing this week, and give some predictions, talk about what we think, and gear up for an all-black night game at Faroe, which is going to be a lot of fun. But first, let's get back to Louisiana. Last week I left you guys, we were discussing how hot it's been in prior games that we've been to and what the seating arrangements are like at Faroe, because that was just such a beatdown that there's really not much you could pull from it. I did go back and watch it though several times just to make sure that I was right, and I was right. That was a beatdown of epic proportions. They essentially treated a G5 team that won 10 games last year, by the way, like an FCS opponent, and in fact they beat them worse than the FCS opponent that they played this year. So it was just an all-in-out beatdown. There's no chance that anything was going to happen. Whenever I do this, I'm always looking for quirky little stats or things that really tell the tale of the game. And really, because it was so one-sided, you can point to anything and say, "Oh, that was very reminiscent of what, or very representative of what this game would be." But for me, Hurst, here's my favorite stat, and then we'll let you pick yours. My favorite stat was the plays run. Which is not a very advanced stat for yours truly, but I think it tells the actual story of this game. Missouri ran 85 plays. Louisiana ran 36. That means that Missouri ran more plays against the Raging Cajuns than Louisiana and Kansas ran against Missouri combined. That is just the amount of dominance and possession that Missouri has run against the Jayhawks and, of course, the Cajuns. And, yeah, it showed. 85 plays versus 36. It was nip tuck. Drinkwitz got out of there with a hefty lead. What was a stat that stood out to you? Either your favorite, the one that was the most telling, or just a quirky one that you enjoyed looking at?
I mean, I still can't get over the passing numbers that Louisiana put up. Now, we knew coming into the game that they were very inexperienced at quarterback. They had a true freshman starting, Daniel Beal, and then a redshirt freshman backing up in Lunch Winfield. But still, combined, the two were 2 for 14 for 4 yards. Now, the fact that they only threw 14 passes goes back to your stat that they ran so few plays that they only could even bother to throw 14 passes in the first place. And the best way to prevent deep, explosive pass plays is to not let them pass at all. And that's vintage Eli Drinkwitz football: is get the ball, hold on to it, and long drives, long successful drives, and then get the ball immediately back and go on another long successful drive. And they did that all game. But 4 passing yards, 2 for 14 in 2025, the year of our Lord. That's an insane stat. You just do not see teams, no matter how bad they are, no matter how bad the beatdown is, they're going to complete. Teams in modern football are going to complete more than 2 passes. They're going to throw for more than 4 yards, especially because college football counts sacks against rushing yards. They don't count sacks against passing yards. So, maybe you threw up 5 or 6 sacks. That could really hurt your passing numbers in the NFL. That's not the case in college football. So they legitimately had 4 passing yards. And really, Daniel Beal had 5 passing yards. Poor Lunch had -1 passing yard. His one completed pass lost a yard. So, it was complete and utter dominance. You talked a little bit about the offensive dominance. The defensive dominance was just as stout. I mean, minus the 184-yard rushing play right up the middle, which, I still
Oh
can't
yeah.
really figure out I watched it a few more times. Can't really figure out exactly what happened other than linebacker gets caught in the wash, and I'm not sure where the safety was supposed to be there.
Yeah.
But Zylan Perry finished with 86 rushing yards, 84 of them on one carry. Otherwise, he was 4 carries for 2 yards. So that's what you want to see. That's just, I mean, their best player
Uh,
was Steven Blanco, minus that one play. Their best player was Steven
yeah.
Blanco, who ran 7 carries for 31 yards. So,
Against the threes. Against the
right, and
threes.
that was in the fourth quarter when
Yeah.
the players, the Mizzou freshmen who will not play again this year potentially, maybe UMass.
Yeah.
That's when they were getting on the field, and they still couldn't
Yeah.
move the ball.
They
So.
couldn't. I've been charting games for a long time, not just Mizzou ones. Now, granted that I don't look at FCS a lot, or one-sided P5 or P2 versus G5 or whatever we're calling it now. I agree. I don't chart those a lot. However, I do chart a lot of games. This is the first time that it's ended up with a single-digit passing yard when they attempted more than 10 passes. And yeah, I show you the passing yards and the net passing yards because I do want to show you what it looks like with sacks added in there. And I actually had them at -9 passing yards for the day. So that's a lot of fun. That's defensive dominance. I'm with you on that. Probably not going to see that for the rest of the year. I don't even really think you're going to see it against UMass. UMass, I'm not saying that they're better than Louisiana is. It's just that's very rare to see. Even at a domination level, you tend to not see that. So we'll just enjoy it for what it is and appreciate the quirks as we go through this. But yeah, it was impressive, and looking at South Carolina, who is much less impressive, in a loss to Vanderbilt at home. They entered obviously ranked, and they left unranked. They ended up losing 31-7 to the Commodores. Obviously, this is not your father's Vanderbilt team. This is not your older brother's Vanderbilt team. Diego Pavia is him, as we used to say many years ago about Luther Burden. He is a change agent along with Jerry Kill and along with Tim Beck, the offensive coordinator there. It's a triple option kind of shotgun funky system that frustrates the hell out of you, makes it tough to make a tackle and make a read, and they have the guys who know how to operate within it. So they're a good team, but they're not that good, and they shouldn't be beating South Carolina 31-7 on the road. So there's some issues here, and the first thing we want to talk about obviously is Lenora Sellers, the transcendent quarterback for South Carolina, who did so much for them in their tremendous campaign last year. Who I've cited several times as saying he was the one that was maybe elevating the performance of South Carolina beyond what it should be, just because he is so talented. And he took a pretty nasty hit against Vandy and missed a good chunk of the game, and of course they lost. Now I don't think he would have saved the game, but that's neither here nor there. The question has been, is he going to play Nathan Hurst? That's the big one. And it sounds like from the injury report today, released today, that he is listed as questionable, which is to be expected, along with Eli Drinkwitz saying that they are preparing for him to play. Thoughts on Lenora Sellers, either his performance, his ability to elevate South Carolina, or just the injury in general? Go ahead and go.
So he is a really good player, very, very talented. We saw that front and center last year when Mizzou went to South Carolina, and he absolutely roasted Mizzou. Had 350 yards passing, another, 60 yards on the ground, had 5 touchdown passes. So we know he can play, and he's really good. He has not done that this year. He's really gotten off to a slow start, along with the rest of the South Carolina team. I'm not really sure why they were, as you said, ranked very highly coming into the year, but since the start of the year, the vibes there have just not been good. They had a less than impressive win over Virginia, a bad Virginia Tech team. They beat them by 13 points. One of those touchdowns was a special teams touchdown. Virginia Tech went on to get housed by Vanderbilt, and then get housed even worse by Old Dominion. So that's not an impressive win. Then they really looked not good at all in their second game against some G5 team. I'm losing.
South
I'm
Carolina
forgetting.
State.
Very FCS team. Excuse me, but
Very
they didn't look
sleepy.
great.
Yeah.
They did not look great against South Carolina State, and then they got housed by Vanderbilt. So the vibes are not great in South Carolina. Whether or not Lenora Sellers plays, They're just not really clicking, and he hasn't been clicking either. 431 yards in 2.5-ish games because he missed the second
Mhm.
half. Um, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, 7 sacks in 3 games. One of those games being against an FCS team. Um, they they're not protecting him, and seems to be a problem with South Carolina there since Shane Beamer has gotten there, that they cannot protect their quarterbacks, and they're not protecting him, and that came to fruition against Vanderbilt when he took a shot right to the chin and knocked him out of the game. So, as you said, he's listed as questionable. I think he's going to play. There have been reports from national reporters coming out today saying that it is likely that he will play. Pete Nakos said he is likely to play with on three. So I fully expect him to play. If he plays like he has been this season so far, this isn't going to be a difficult task for the Mizzou defense. Now, that's not to say he will. I think he clearly has the talent to play much better than that, but it hasn't come out so far. Let's hope that stays the case. Let's hope he gets to play. Let's hope he's healthy and that he gets shut out like he did against Vanderbilt.
Does it matter to you? This is a loaded question. I understand that. Does the way that your team win matter to you? As in, if Missouri beats South Carolina this week, and all the discourse from South Carolina fans is, oh, but Lenora Sellers was hurt. You couldn't beat him ever. Does that matter to you at all?
No, not at all. And to be honest, it shouldn't matter other than if you're down to a playoff committee trying to choose between 2-10 and two teams, and you've got a team, you got to win against a South Carolina with a Lenora Sellers versus a win against them without a Lenora Sellers, and how does that compare to a team with a similar resume? But maybe they didn't play South Carolina; they beat another good team instead. That's the only time something like that should really matter. As a fan, I don't care. I just want the
Uh-huh.
W in the W column. They can win in triple overtime. They can win by 50 points. They can win by a single point. I don't care. Give me the win, and move on to the next one, especially when it comes to the SEC games. Any way you can possibly scratch out a win in an SEC game in this 2025 SEC, that's all that matters.
I agree. I agree. Now, I want to see the best players play. So from that standpoint, sure, I want Sellers out there. Um,
He's a
but
really
no,
fun player. I would
he
love to see
is.
him in person. So
Yeah,
he's in terms of entertainment value, he is way up there on the list of guys that are fun to watch.
absolutely. Yeah, that's just. Yeah, I'm with you. I don't care how the win comes. Right? Losers complain. Losers complain. That's that's kind of where I fall on that, and that's true for complaining about referees or really anything. You're not complaining when you've won, unless you're LSU. You complain when you lose. That's the big takeaway there. But yeah, for South Carolina, to your point, I mean, if you look at post game win expectancy, they've done well, right? Like, there's no way that Virginia Tech was winning that game. That's mostly commentary on Virginia Tech. South Carolina won 24-11 of all scores. Um, Virginia Tech was not good. That's why they fired their coach. And then you go up against your FCS team, and yes, you have a 99% post game win expectancy, sure, but you won 38-10. That's a Missouri versus SEMO 2015 score where you're like, yeah, you beat them by 28, but you couldn't do more.
It's a kind of a
It
canary in a coal mine, to be
it
honest.
is. It is. Or if you prefer kind of later vintages, the 72-48 shootout against Missouri State, where you're like, oh, cool, Drew Lock really threw it a lot. Wow, he had to stay in there and throw it a lot. That's a boy, our defense might stink, and lo and behold, they stunk. So it is. It's portending to future things, how you play your FCS team. And then of course Vanderbilt comes in. It's the first team with the pulse they've seen all year, and they get stomped. Right? Vanderbilt's 27th in the nation. They came in there and wreck shop. 0% win expectancy for South Carolina against Vanderbilt. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. Missouri's not that. 199-100. Sorry, 196-100. That is where they stand as far as post game win expectancy. And not only that, but South Carolina is falling short of both SP plus projections and spread projections. Like, they're not hitting it. People think the numbers, the computers think one thing, the bettors think the same thing, and they're just continually falling below that. So that's where we're at with South Carolina. And now you have an injured quarterback. So they're coming to Missouri. It's going to be a night game. It's a blackout, so find your black. Hopefully, the heat breaks, so you're not gonna have to be dying while you're tailgating. But thinking of South Carolina, here's my hesitancy, Hurst, and you can either talk me off the ledge or encourage my paranoia. The thing I would say about Missouri's offense is that they ain't played nobody. Right? I talked about this in my preview today. The one defense that really had a pulse was Kansas, and they're 51st now. So that gives you an idea of the quality of defense that Missouri has gone up against. South Carolina's defense is top 25. I don't care that they gave up, 4 touchdowns to Vanderbilt. It's still a good defense. Now, there's ways to beat them. There's obvious ways to beat them, but they're still good. And this is still an offense that has some growing to do. Ahmad Hardy said it this week. He's like, hey, I'm still not used to this level yet, which is the right thing to say, but also it's true. He has not gone up against an SEC defense with these guys. How much are you concerned about that aspect?
It is a concern. South Carolina is a significantly better defense than they've faced so far. This is where what we talked about all offseason when we didn't quite know what this offense was going to be. We didn't know what the quarterback situation was going to be. We didn't know how good Bo Pribula would be, the offensive line, those sorts of things. We kind of come into the season saying that this team is going to need to win playing complementary football, playing good defense, ball control, get off the field on third down on defense, and keep the ball on offense. This team has far exceeded that so far this year with the explosive plays, with the ability to hold on to the ball the entire game like they did against Louisiana and score every single time. They're not going to need to do that against the South Carolina team. They're just going to have to protect the ball, not turn it over. This South Carolina offense, as we talked about, has struggled a lot this year. They're not a great unit. Even with a healthy Lenora Sellers, they have not been good. Their offensive line is bad, straight up bad. Their running game is meager. Their passing game isn't good. They have one, electric wide receiver who's only good on deep routes, and that's kind of the extent. So if the defense can keep them from giving up 350 yards through the air like they did last year, which I think they have a really good shot of doing, this offense does not have to score 40. How many did they have against Kansas? 41, 42 points. They don't have to score that many points. Yeah. 42 points. They do not need to score 42 points to win this game. They are going to have to score 27 to win, and that's a much more manageable number against the defense of this caliber.
Yeah. I just, what have been the concerns about Missouri's offense? The offensive line, right? That's been kind of the big concern that we're still, we feel better about, but it's not put to bed. What is South Carolina's really, what are they good on defense? The defensive line. That's where all their stars are. And if you're going to let a free blitzer go through that's wearing a Louisiana jersey, or your tackle gets beat by a guy wearing, an FCS jersey, what's Dylan Stewart going to do to you? Right? What's Gabriel Bindi Download, whatever his name is? What's the Texas A&M transfer? What's he going to do? Former 5-star guy, right up the middle. Tollison, Piegler, Giudice. Are you ready for that guy? Because you weren't ready for the others. I don't know. That's my only concern. I'm not saying, this is why Missouri loses. This is my concern. This is a question that has yet to be answered. And it's an important one. We've seen what happens when the offensive line is bad. Ask South Carolina. They lost most of their offensive line, last year's offensive line, to graduation. And then they got hit in the portal with all their backups. So they had to go to the portal to portal in a bunch of dudes on offensive line. They brought in a guy from Incarnate Word, a right tackle from Incarnate Word. He's not playing. They brought in a guard from Western Kentucky. He's not playing. He had 11 starts for Western Kentucky. They brought in a guy from Wake Forest with 10 starts, 670 snaps for guard. He's not playing. You have your tackles from last year, and then you have a true freshman who's good, but a true freshman at guard, the center from Troy who played a lot and is a huge liability, and then you're rotating a couple of guards at your right tackle spot. Because that's what you have. That's what you trust 3 games in. And it shows. It shows a lot. And that's the same concern I have for Missouri. South Carolina was able to weather it against bad Virginia Tech team, a bad South Carolina State team, and then they played a real defense in Vanderbilt, and it all fell apart, and their quarterback football died. So that is my concern. Is there anything that you can say to make me not be concerned about that?
I mean, that's a concern in the passing game. I think I'm not as concerned about the running game. And I think if Mizzou can lean more heavily on the running game and not have to worry about dropping Pabula back to pass 25, 30 times, that's going to help a lot. So if you look at that pass attempts number, and if that for Pabula at the end of the game, and if it's less than 25, and assuming he plays the whole game, Mizzou's going to have won the game. Now, if that pass attempts number is higher than that, then you're going to be exposing him to a lot more hits, a lot more opportunities for bad things to happen. Not that I don't trust him throwing the ball. He's looked really good doing that. And South Carolina's secondary is really not a whole lot to speak of, especially because their best guy's hurt. But if they can lean heavily on the run game, which they've been able to do all year, and yes, this is a step up in the level there, but I still think they're going to be able to move the ball fairly well that way. Then that kind of alleviates some of that pass rush pressure.
It does, but you don't want to run on South Carolina. That's the problem. They got a 39% success rate on the ground. I know that's 74th, but opponents only go 3 yards per rush. You're not getting a first down that way. They're allowing 6 yards per successful rush, which is incredibly low. That's 8th in the nation. When opponents run on the Gamecocks, their expected points added, which I know is kind of a funky stat, but basically, are you going to score when you do this? Plus is good, minus is bad. Opponents are minus 0.3 points per attempt, which is the 12th best in the country. They will give you some yards on the ground. You're not going very far. And then you punt. Now, I understand that Virginia Tech and South Carolina State are not good rushing teams. I know Vanderbilt is not as good as Missouri is, and they were able to move it decently well. But, again, first time these guys have gone up against an SEC defensive line. What's it going to look like? It's a question. And I would encourage passing the ball, which highlights Missouri's big weakness as far as the line goes. So I don't know. This is why I don't get paid to be a football coach. Do you roll the dice and do the thing that you know is a little bit more risky, but that the rest of the defense isn't good at? Or do you lean on your strength, do what you do, and go strength on strength and hope that you just grind them out? I don't know what the answer is.
I think the answer is it's a long game, and you're going to have opportunity to shift gears if whatever you tried the first time doesn't work.
In theory.
If I'm a betting man and have followed Eli Drinkwitz closely for the last 6 years at Mizzou, he's going to lean on the run early. And if that doesn't work, and if they go if it's the end of the first quarter and Mizzou's picked up a single first down, then then they might start looking at other options. But as you see, turnabout's fair play. Mizzou has not seen a defense like South Carolina. South Carolina has not seen a rushing game like Mizzou's. Virginia Tech, no. South Carolina State, no. Vanderbilt is a competent offensive team. Yes, but they do it in a very different way, and it's much more of I hesitate to say gimmicky way, but it kind of is. And and they certainly don't have. I mean, Cedric Alexander is a pretty good player. He's not an explosive runner like Ahmad Hardy is, and that even Jamal Roberts has shown to be. So I feel pretty confident they're going to be able to move the ball on the ground. Are they going to run it for, what did they do, 400 yards like last week? No, definitely not. Definitely not. But they can. I think they can get 180, 200 yards on the ground by the time the game's over, and they limit the passes, keep the passing short. Maybe once in the second quarter, lull them to sleep and get Marquise Johnson over the top. But if you do the quick passes, quick game, Kevin Coleman across the middle, Brett Norfleet, chipping on a Stewart and then kind of rolling out into the flat, they can move the ball through the air a little bit that way to limit the pass rush, and then counteract that with running the ball early and often.
Okay, let's write this down. Everybody driving in your car, pull over right now. Pull out your phone or a pad and paper like it's 1958. Let's do this right now. Nathan Hurst, you're on the spot. Here we go. To you, what is the stat? And I know this is not true. This is just a game. What is the stat in your mind that is the most indicative of Missouri won the game? And what number does that stat need to be to solidify in your brain, sitting on a Wednesday, that, oh yeah, Missouri definitely won this game?
Rushing attempts.
Okay.
Rushing
what
attempts.
Does that number need to be?
And it needs to be. And let me pull up. How many rushes did they have last week? Let me look at what that
Last
number
week
was.
they had like
Just
68
for
too.
context, 62. Yeah. If that number is 45, if Missouri has run the 40, if Missouri has run the ball 40 times,
40.
they will have won the game. And you
Okay.
could probably even drop that down to 35, but I'm going to go 40.
Okay.
If Missouri has run the ball for 40 times, they'll have won the game. Now, can they win it running less than that? Yes. But
Yes.
if they reach that number, they will have won the game because that means that they're going to have been able to move the ball on the ground. They're going to have it for enough times, enough plays to run it that many times, and presumably finish in points. I mean, the only way that they would finish with 40 and not win is if there's a 3 in the turnover market. Where they run the ball a lot, but they get down to
Yeah.
the red zone and turnover. But that's a great equal.
Throw
Turnovers
that away.
would
We're just
completely.
ignore that part. Like that's injuries, turnovers. That's gonna throw a wrench in a lot of things. So yeah, with that caveat, um, let me tell you mine. To me, Missouri will have most likely won this game if their third down conversion rate is over 52%. Okay, a little over half. Um, that has really been the secret sauce to this unprecedented run of beatdowns, which I know the score didn't show it, but they really beat the hell out of Kansas. Um, it's been that time of possession a little bit, but definitely third downs. They have been able to convert. And this isn't, this is not me trying to play up something that, oh, well, you're being a little hipster because you don't want to say like the ground game's good. I'm not saying that. Like Missouri is 7th in the nation in third down conversions, 62.2%. We're 3 weeks in. Most teams have played an FCS opponent and an overmatched G5 opponent. And who is the 7th best in third down conversion? Missouri is by quite a bit. And it's the reason that I find that so important is that they've been able to stay on the field. They are dictating how this game the games get played. It's on their terms. It's slow. It's methodical. It keeps their defense on the sideline so they're ready to go. And you're stringing together 10 to 12 play combos, and you just sit on them, and you run out the half, and then you've won the middle 8, and then you get the ball. And I think if they can do that, then that says that they probably won the game, because on the flip side, the Gamecocks are bad at third down conversions on defense. They are currently 103rd in stopping third down conversions, 43.5%. And again, Missouri is converting at a 62.2% clip. So if it's 52 or above, I would feel really confident that Missouri won the game. That would be it for me.
That's great. And you know what South Carolina is also bad at is that converting their own third downs when they're on
There you go.
offense as
There you
well.
go.
And
Yeah.
the reason why Mizzou is really good at third down conversions and South Carolina is really bad is South Carolina cannot run the ball on first and second down, and Mizzou can. So Mizzou is sitting there at 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4, very convertible down. South Carolina is sitting there at 30 and 8, 39, 3rd and 10. And that's when their crappy offensive line comes into play when they can't block. So if Mizzou can run the ball on first, second down, get to those third and shorts, then you can do whatever. Not only is it much easier to pass the ball on third and short because you can get the ball out quickly. You're not worried about long, big dropbacks and fearsome pass rush coming at you, but you can also run the ball again on third down, on 3rd and 2. You can just as easily run it as you can throw it. So they kind of play into each other, and the rushing game will contribute to the third down conversion rate. And if they keep converting third downs, they're going to keep having more plays to run the ball and get that carry number up. So I think we're definitely both on track with both those numbers.
Oh yeah, we're definitely simpatico. Like it's just different numbers for the same approach. I'm with you. On defense, this is why I am not like I think Missouri is the better team by far. I'm predicting them to win. I feel like it's probably going to be comfortable, but the way this comes undone is South Carolina is good at the one thing Missouri's defense is bad at, and it's explosive plays. It's Lenora Sellers going out there and hitting a deep shot or running around with his ass on fire and, creating a 12, 15-yard scramble for a first down or, drawing the eye of the defense and then finding a guy who's kind of loitering in the middle of the field and he cuts up and goes big. Like that's what they do. That's why, to your point, first and second down, playmaker down, third down, Lenora Sellers time. good. But that's all they have. It's not reliable. It's not consistent. If they hit their big, it's like a 3-point shooting college basketball team. You make your threes, you blow them out. If you can't hit any, you lose in stupefying fashion because they can't do the efficiency stuff. So here I am, just the boy sitting in his basement asking Corey Batoon to please, for the love of God, find a way to stop the explosive plays because that's how this all falls apart.
Yeah, they could give up one, and so far this season they've given up one, and at least in Kansas, there's someone has a gong. At least in against Kansas and against Louisiana, they've given up one explosive play, one big time, 40, 50-yard kind of field flipping explosive play. In Kansas, it was on that 4th and short there in the first quarter. Against Louisiana, it was the 80-yard run. They can get by with giving up big field flipping explosive play. And with a guy like Nick Harbor, who is outrageously fast, he's like U.S. Olympic track team level fast. He was invited to the U.S. Olympic trials last time around. He's that fast. So that can happen. And if that happens once, that's fine. Because what that really means is Mizzou gets the ball back on offense and can control the clock more and wear their defense down more.
Look at you. Love that.
What can't happen is is explosive plays in special teams. Vicari Swain is South Carolina's punt returner. He currently leads the nation in punt return average at 33 yards per return. That is a crazy number. He has 3 punt return touchdowns in 3 games. And he almost had a 4th against Vanderbilt, but he had another. It was 25, 30-yard return. They ran him out of bounds before he could score. But he had 2 against Virginia Tech. No, 1 against Virginia Tech and 2 against South Carolina State. So don't punt to him. Punt it out of bounds. Give them an extra 10 yards so he doesn't sniff the ball. Because the defense can survive, this team can survive if they give up a big field flipping offensive play. That might happen. It sometimes is a symptom of aggression, and that's okay. They cannot survive if they give Vicari Swain 1, 2, 3 opportunities to do what he does best, which is run a long way after he punts the ball. Kind of reminds me of I think it was 2018 game against South Carolina where Deebo Samuel, things are going great. Then Deebo Samuel decides to return a kickoff return for a touchdown. And then that completely flipped the game against South Carolina. Maybe it was 20.
That might be
2019. It was the last time South Carolina had beaten Mizzou before last year.
Then it was 19. That's what it was.
It was 19. And everything, Mizzou had just scored to either tie it or maybe even take a small lead. And then ensuing kickoff, Deebo Samuel, and we know what kind of a career that guy's had in the NFL, takes the kickoff and runs it all the way back. And then before you know it, Mizzou loses by multiple scores. So let's not make that happen again this time around. Let's just play it safe in special teams because that's not something we've really excelled at historically under this regime anyway. So just punt it out of bounds. 30-yard net punts out of bounds are fine. They're fine.
So I'll freely admit I did not look at the special team stats. That's something that routinely just escapes my eye. Did not know that. That's scary. So Missouri ranks 85th in special teams SP+. Given the fact that you lost your field goal kicker and your place kicker, that kind of feels like that makes sense. What they're actually good at is punting. That's the good news. This Connor Wesselman kid, who was not good enough to punt for Stanford, of all teams, has come in and actually done decently well. I was a little hesitant about what he could do, but so far, again, 3 games in, he's only punted 4 times. I'll give you that, but there's only been 1 return. He is netting about 43 yards per punt. He's got 1 inside the 10, and he's got a hang time of 4.1 seconds. Like that's pretty good, all things considered. The issue that we run into, and this is kind of the quiet part that you miss Blake Craig. You remember how Blake Craig would kick everything out the back of the end zone? Like, no question about it. Do you know who's doing kickoffs now? Do you know the guy's name?
It's did they recruit Dude Person from Central Arkansas to come do kickoffs? Because
no, they did not.
That might as well be his name in my head.
Might as well. So it's a young gentleman named Oliver Robbins. He has been doing the kickoffs since Blake Craig had his football death. He has kicked off 18 times. he has had a touchback 38% of the time. As a reference point, Blake Craig over 3 kicks this year, 60% touchback rate. 39, 60%. In fact, if you go back to last year, Blake Craig had a 68.9% touchback percentage. Again, 38, 39, whatever I said. 68. There's a difference there. You're opening it up to more opportunities for kick returns because you're not knocking it out the back of the end zone. His hang time is decent, 3.7 seconds. The average field position is good, 20. The opponent's 22. It's opening them up to more opportunities for return. And Missouri ranks 106th in kickoff efficiency. That's your story, and now you're telling me that their special teams are good, or at least their punt return is good.
It's a Beamer coach team. The special teams are going to be good.
Yeah, that's how it goes. All right, enough dilly-dallying. We've talked about the things that I'm scared about because that's just me constantly as a sports fan. That's why I only watch one sport. My heart can't take it. I'm a beautiful little flower. We've talked about all the ways that Missouri could lose or how this goes bad, special teams kind of being the undoing. Talked about the things that they can do well, running the ball, defense, havoc. Just please don't give up the bad havoc plays where they go for explosive yards. Where are we at, Nathan Hurst? Pick the winner. Give me a score.
Feeling pretty good. I'm assuming Lenora is going to play. I hope for his sake that he's healthy and is able to play. I don't think it's going to matter a whole lot for South Carolina, though, just based on how they've looked when he has been healthy and played. So I'm going to go Mizzou. The spread before it was kind of became obvious that Sellers was going to play was actually almost 14 points. It was 13.5. It's come down a little bit since then, but I think Mizzou's going to win by double digits. I may not be 2 touchdowns, but I'm going to go something along the lines of 27-14. I'll say 27-14. Defense is going to play well. They might give up one explosive play leading to a touchdown, but I think they're going to be able to hold on to the ball and kind of sit on South Carolina for the second half.
Boy, I'd love that. I'm going to say 31-17, Missouri wins. If this is a tight game or a loss, it is because Missouri cannot make their field goals and South Carolina flips this on like you said, like a punt return or a kickoff return, in which case I'd see this as like a 24-21 South Carolina win. Yeah. I don't think you get into a shootout. I don't think this is something where Missouri can run away or South Carolina can run away. It's not going to be trading blows. It's just someone makes a couple of mistakes and the other one can't recover, or can't do enough to overcome that. And in that situation, if you don't have a field goal kicker that you can rely on, then you're rolling the dice on 4th down, which Missouri's been good at, but again, no SEC defenses yet. So that would be my say. 31-17. Missouri wins. If not, that's how that goes. So,
yeah. And I mean, this one's a big one because it sets the trajectory for the rest of the SEC season. You lose this one, and that really kind of kneecaps where this season can go because of all the challenging games moving forward. To start the season, this was on the list as one of the more challenging SEC games. That doesn't necessarily look to be the case now. I mean, at Vanderbilt looks way more challenging at this point than South Carolina does. At Auburn, at Oklahoma,
any of the road games,
Texas A&M, Alabama. But because you've got those 6 really tough games on the docket, you can't afford to drop this one. This now becomes really a must-have if you're gonna reach the heights that you're hoping to get by the end of the year.
Yeah. Or a must-have if you want to get that trophy back, which I know Eli Drinkwitz loves his merchandise. So he needs to get that cup, put it back on the shelf. But that is going to be the show for today. As always, we appreciate the downloads and the subscriptions. You can leave a comment. You can rate us. We love all types of feedback from you all. Or you can follow us on Twitter. I'm at Nate G. Edwards. He's at Burst to Hurst. Of course, you can follow the Rockin' flagship at Rockin' Nation or our podcasting outlet at Rockin' Radio. We appreciate you tuning in this time. We'll try to do better next time. And until then, MIZ.
ZOU.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to Rock M Radio, a proud partner of Fans First Sports Network. Rock M Radio is the official podcast network of Rock M Plus, a new and exciting subscription service provided by me and the other voices of Rock M Radio. Please take a few moments to head over to rockm.plus and sign up for an account today. The cost is only $5 a month, and the benefits include access to our live podcast, a subscriber-only message board, weekly newsletters, and more. If you enjoyed this episode of Rock M Radio and would like to see more just like it beamed directly into your personal device, make sure to click the subscribe button below and tell your friends. Our podcast feed is available through the Apple Podcast app for iPhone, Google Podcast app for Android, whatever app you listen to your podcast. You can also find Rock M Radio on Spotify. If you're looking for a podcast about your favorite team that is not Missouri Tigers, Fan First Sports Network is your answer. A full podcast network loaded with the team-specific podcasts covering Major League Baseball, the NFL, NHL, NBA, MLS, and more. And we'll be back with more episodes of Rock M Radio coming to you soon.